Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be plant mail unboxing an import from GreenspacesID. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video, as well as following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. That's the fastest way to get in touch with me directly. And I also want to say thank you to those that tuned into the Cultivation Corner first episode last night. Check out this trailer. Stuff like looking at social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, about what trending plants are there. So like say there's like a new plant release. All of a sudden, you already have all of these plants.
Exactly.
But then you want to go ahead and add that variegated Monstera or just some new release.
I'm much better with it now.
Wow. He has allocations. He's got an allocation.
He has the magic touch then.
Either the magic touch or
he has
something. He has a poly, an allocation poly. No spider mites. He doesn't really water it, and it's in like a overlooked plants. They also have another common trait. They're cost effective. The price is right for the majority of us, unless you're one of those folks that can, drop $1,000 on a variegated whatever
Which
plant.
I could do that. A lot of the plants that we think are specialty plants here are technically not.
Those that missed the Cultivation Corner Plant podcast show that I'm part of with Janae Simone and Stephen of I Live Plants, definitely check it out. And thank you to all the plant foldies and anybody that actually tuned in to watch that show. We will have more up there for y'all. But again, this is GreenspacesID. If you want to purchase plants from Indonesia online, you can use my discount code GrowFolds20 for 20% off of all of your plants from GreenspacesID. I will say that this is my third time getting plants from GreenspacesID. I have yet to have any negative review about them, just because all of the plants that I've received from them have been immaculate. I remember them giving me some free plants to review the first time, some anthuriums, which basically started my anthurium era. But then you already know that if you are a plant foldie, I always talk about Aglaonema, and I will tell you that Indonesia has some of the best Aglaonema hybrids. Aglaonema are super easy to take care of. They are drought tolerant, they are low light tolerant, and they are just absolutely stunning. There's so many varieties to pick from, and I am just very confident in all of the Aglaonema that I will be receiving today. I will get half a dozen from this actual order that I got from GreenspacesID. As far as the timing for GreenspacesID, it took about 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks since I placed the order with them, because you have to think that they had to actually produce a phytosanitary certificate for these plants to legally make it into the United States. So again, as far as the plants that you receive from GreenspacesID, it is sourced from a reputable source. They'll go about it legally, and I love the fact that I can get gorgeous Aglaonema like this. This is the first one. This is an Aglaonema Pink Lady. And mind you, I am based out in North Dallas. And when this was delivered, it was actually delivered around temperatures that were like 36, 37 degrees. And you can see there are very minimal damage to the plants. Now we're going to take a look at some of the roots. Obviously, these are all in sphagnum moss. And, you can see from firsthand, there is just some slight yellowing on the leaves. So what I'm going to do is actually get rid of some of those yellowing of the leaves, just because it's going to take more energy from the actual plant that actually has viable leaves. That's really natural whenever you're importing plants. It's not always going to be perfect, but I am still super satisfied. And you can see right here, this one has white thick roots. There's not as much of a root system in this one, so maybe some of the roots might have just been nipped off. Maybe I wasn't that careful, but I am still confident that this plant is going to make it through. All of these Aglaonema will be planted in semihydro substrate. I will put them in lechuza pond and leca, and you can see that I am just taking some of the dead leaves off of them, just because eventually it's going to go ahead and die off. So I might as well just speed up the process and allow the plant to focus on the more healthy leaves. But for the first one, yes, that one needs just a little bit more rooting. I could just keep it in water to let it root, but I think putting it in a semi-hydro substrate is going to be just fine. I'm going to show you throughout this unboxing video the process of me cleaning up the plant, unboxing the plant, and then finally putting them in a substrate. Some people will disagree with some of my methods. I know that when importing plants, people will actually have them rehab in water for weeks, for at least a month or two. For me, I am just going to go ahead and give them about 72 hours to just kind of rehydrate themselves in a nutrient solution water, which I will tell you my formula as I go through this unboxing. But as you can see, plant foldies, this is the second Aglaonema. This is an Aglaonema light of diamond. So I've seen this Aglaonema actually offered in the United States. And, as far as the plant pricing for the Aglaonema from GreenspacesID, I've got them, they range between $20 to maybe $30 max for some of the Aglaonema I received from this order, which is fine with me. I ended up getting a really good shipping with GreenspacesID. I will say, if you are interested in importing plants from GreenspacesID, the best thing to do if you really want to save on the shipping is to get many of your plantee friends, get a community where you guys can put a fairly large order. I actually did an order with Janae Simone and Steven of I Live Plants. Those are my Cultivation Corner buddies. We actually have that plant podcast where we ended up doing another import video. We're going to do an import video once we get our actual order. This one was actually placed about a week after I received these plants, and so it's going to take another 2.5 weeks for that plant to receive. But as far as actually saving money on the import shipping, I would just say get a bunch of people together, and that way you can split the cost of the shipping. Now, the shipping for me, at least on this order, was $45. But number one, you didn't necessarily have to worry about having an import license because GreenspacesID actually has a broker that's based out on the East Coast that actually gets these plants and then ships it off from their US team to go to your home. So really love how efficient this is. I do have an import license. I've imported plants before last year where I ended up having to do the paperwork. It was a little bit more complicated than what I wanted it to be. That's the reason why, for me, if you find a reputable company like GreenspacesID, they take care of a lot of the legwork, and that's what I really appreciate about them. But you can see Light of Diamond was actually a really good Aglaonema, and then we're going to see this one. This is an Aglaonema Cinderella, and it looks very similar to an Aglaonema Frozen. So you can see right here, this is a pretty good looking plant. There might be just one leaf that may not look as great. These plants, they look flat, and it's because they have been in a box for a couple of days, maybe a week or two in travel. So surprisingly, these plants are looking pretty good. They're not as stressed out. I will say, and that's with any imported plants that you get from overseas, the plants will decline slightly in health. So you will see a couple of leaves get lost as you put them in a substrate or as you just let them acclimate to your home. That is totally natural. And for those that actually have questions about importing plants or even just questions about GreenspacesID, my interactions with the company, please leave that in the comments. I definitely want to get more people more comfortable, I suppose, in doing an investment to get imported plants. I know maybe 3 or 4 years ago, it was actually a little bit more costly to import plants. But then again, plant pricing was more expensive. Therefore, people were actually importing plants from overseas because you can get about cost-effective prices. I would say for the Aglaonema, if you are an Aglaonema lover like myself, I think everybody should, to be honest, especially if you're watching a Grow Folds Plant Foldy YouTube channel. And for those that are new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome. My name is Richie. You can see that I have a love for Aglaonema, but this one has some pretty good roots. And what I would say about the root systems with GreenspacesID, sometimes you will get smaller roots, but I've never had a situation where the roots were literally rotted off. So, what I mean by rotted off, as in like the roots are squishy, they're black, they're moldy. These are all very nice roots that I'm seeing. And that's really important when you think about just the plant in general. If you have viable roots, the plant will eventually bounce back from the travel. It'll be able to really acclimate to your environment a lot quicker. In terms of the acclimation of, any plant that you get from overseas, I would say it takes a good month and a half for them to really get situated in your environment. So I always say if you're going to import plants, and I'll go into a little bit more detail as you continue to watch this video, is to make sure you have a nutrient solution that's really going to rehydrate them. Vitamin B vitamin is really good. So I would recommend Super Thrive, and you'll see that mixture. But you can see this Aglaonema Sweet Dream. This is another Aglaonema I really wanted because it really has that cream tan look about it. Some people will say that it looks like the leaves are dying, but it's really not. There's only maybe 1 or 2 leaves. You can see that the underside has yellow. That is definitely a leaf that needs to be chopped off. But otherwise, this is a beautiful plant, and it's a really nice size plant. The original Aglaonemas that I received from GreenspacesID a month ago, it looks like, basically I'm like getting plants from overseas every month or so. It's just really exciting because they have really acclimated to my space. I really want to have the time to show my plants to all of the plant foldies, to my viewers and subscribers, so you can kind of see what I'm working with as far as my plant collection. So we'll definitely check that out. It's one of those things where I just need to get a lot of my organization for my plants. But as you can see right here, Aglaonema Sweet Dream, and this one really has a good root system. So that's super exciting for me. I'm glad that this one got a lot of roots. This is a larger plant in general, and honestly, I could probably separate some of the babies from this Aglaonema and maybe get a second Aglaonema. But otherwise, this is another gorgeous plant. Super excited about it. And as far as the updates on some of these Aglaonema imports, if you're interested in seeing that, please leave that in the comments. I could do an update video for my imported plants. That's something that I feel like could actually diversify some of my plant content. I know that I've delved into doing more personalized unboxing. I'm hoping for next year in 2025 that I'll be able to show you a lot more of my personal plants. The holiday season has been super stressful. It's been super busy. And so receiving plants from GreenspacesID, being able to get imported rare Aglaonema for really good pricing makes me so happy. And you can see over here, this is another Aglaonema. I've been wanting to get another Aglaonema Deja Vu. So I actually have 2 Aglaonema Deja Vu. I got one from another seller in Indonesia that's not as public, but they have really good Aglaonema as well. I bought from them before, but this one right here, GreenspacesID, is really for the masses. So what's really cool about it is that they've successfully sent more than 4,000 orders all over the world. So if you live in the United States, it's fairly easy to get plants imported. But say you live in a country like Canada, and I know I have a lot of Canadian plant foldies, you can buy from GreenspacesID. They will be able to ship to you hassle-free. So definitely do your research on that. And, for me, I just want to get you guys excited about buying Aglaonema from GreenspacesID. And if you are interested or you like what you see in my unboxing video, know that you can get 20% off courtesy of the GrowFolds Plant YouTube channel. Just use the discount code GrowFolds20 for 20% off. And I would say go ahead and get yourself for Christmas a dozen, 12 days of Aglaonema, right? You can get an Aglaonema for each day counting into Christmas Eve. You can see right here, Aglaonema Deja Vu. It looks more like a very muted, larger leaf form of the Aglaonema Lotus Delight. Love the beautiful pink stems. And with these Aglaonema, they're fairly easy to grow, especially once they get acclimated. The only downside about Aglaonema is that they are just really slow growers. I like plants that grow pretty fast, and surprisingly, I'm into Aglaonema, and I think it's because number one, they just have beautiful colors. Number two, they're easy care, like low maintenance, very forgiving, to the point where I've even pushed the envelope and not watered an Aglaonema for like an entire month. And granted, it was growing in a soil substrate, and it still did okay. It still bounced back. So you can see this one, Aglaonema andini. This is another larger Aglaonema that I got from GreenspacesID. And you can see how gorgeous the leaves are. Now there are a little bit of yellowing on some of the bottom of the leaves. Again, that is natural. Some imported plants that I've gotten in the past have been immaculate and perfect, like not a single leaf had any yellowing, but you know, it is expected to see just a little bit of yellowing. You got to think, Indonesia is so far from North Dallas, Texas, and the fact that it went from Indonesia all the way to the East Coast and then back to North Dallas, these plants traveled thousands of miles to make it into my home. So for me, I am not even sweating at the fact that there might just be a little bit of yellowing on the leaves. You know, plants are resilient. Plants will bounce back. It is a matter of having a little bit more patience. So, you know, as far as like importing plants, you have to assume, number one, that there always is going to be a risk when importing plants. You never know if the plants are going to make it to your home safely in the best health. Number two, as far as like importing plants, it depends on the time of the year. So I know that I'm taking a bit of a risk importing plants in the cold seasons because it could get stuck in a hub where like there's snow, it's freezing, it's stuck in a truck, and it's just going to become icicles. But I've just been lucky, and I don't know if I've just been pushing my luck with my plants, especially getting these plants imported, but you know, it's part of the whole, I would say, plant addiction. And I know a lot of that was discussed, or how you start a houseplant collection on the Cultivation Corner Plant podcast. I did want to say the second episode, if you guys enjoyed the first one, will be on Janae Simone's YouTube channel next Monday, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So definitely check that out. And if you want to continue to watch the Cultivation Corner Plant podcast, be sure to subscribe to the official YouTube channel. Just search Cultivation Corner and subscribe to that, because the remaining episodes and future seasons will be on that. But anyways, let me get off of the Cultivation Corner plant plug and talk about the imported plants. So as you can see here, I have received all of these Aglaonema. So I got half a dozen. I've got 6 gorgeous Aglaonema from GreenspacesID. You can see that they're slightly dehydrated. So what I would do next is, after I get them unboxed, I take my neem oil spray solution and spray it down. So basically, I want to make sure that these plants are pest free. Not to say that they are not pest free, because in order for a plant to get a phytosanitary certificate, the country of origin has to go through a rigorous process of making sure that the plants do not have any type of pest or any type of pathogen. So it has to go through a rigorous process. So for me, GreenspacesID has done a great job with that. But just like any plant that you would buy at like a big box store or a local nursery, I still treat it that way, where I still take a neem oil spray and spray down the leaves, the bottom of the leaves, the tops of the leaves. And in this case, since it's bare root, I spray the roots as well, because you never know, there could be something microscopic that can get into your plant collection. And so I'd rather be safe about that. But if you are interested in my DIY neem oil spray solution I use on all my plants, and it's done very well, like it's literally kept fungus gnats, thrifts, mealybugs, those types of nasty plant pests off of my plants. I haven't had a full-blown pest infestation since I've been, spraying my plants with this solution. So basically, you take a conventional spray bottle. Then you take 2 tablespoons of cold pressed neem oil spray, the organic one that you can buy on Amazon, 2 tablespoons of rubbing alcohol. You can choose from 70% strength or 90% strength. And then also 2 tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide. Put that all into the spray bottle, fill it up with water, and then put just a drop of dishwashing soap, shake, 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 and boom. You're good to go. You'll see that now that I've sprayed all of the plants with the neem oil spray, I let them sit with the neem oil spray for a good 2 to 3 minutes, and then I take the roots, and you can see how viable the roots are right there. They're super healthy, and just wash it off with water, because I'm going to put it in lechuza pond and leca eventually, so I don't want to have the alcohol and the oil and all of that kind of sitting in. But you can see that this one right here, look at this gorgeous roots right here. I already know that these Aglaonema are going to have a very high chance of really surviving and thriving in my plant collection. I will assume, just like some of my Aglaonema, that they may lose a couple more leaves. I had a couple of Aglaonema actually lose quite a bit of leaves, but then have bounced back. So it just really depends. And when you think about the plants that you get overseas, say from Indonesia, we're taking them from their most ideal environments. Indonesia is a country in the it's a Southeast Asian country. It's tropical. It's got really nice humidity. It's got bright sunlight. And when you take all of these plants, these Aglaonema from that environment and bring them to North Dallas, where right now it is pretty cold, it's dipped down to 32 degrees and it's winter. We're not getting that light that we need. There is a huge stark difference. And then you also have to think about the amount of stress these plants have received. So they're growing in perfect conditions. They have to be uprooted and taken away from their soil substrates because legally people cannot send plants with soil to another country, at least in the United States, because of potential pests. And so they've been uprooted, they've been shipped out, they've been sitting in sphagnum moss in a dark box. And so for me, that just is a testament of how resilient these plants are. And you can see that I have gotten done, cleaning them out, spraying them with my neem oil spray. So they're kind of sitting here drying out a little bit, but as you can see here, I'm still super excited that I'm able to at least share this process. If you made it this far into the video, plant foldies, please hit the like button. The like button definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself. I would love to see our plant community grow. I'm still hoping that we can possibly make it to 12,000 subscribers for this channel. And so just hitting the like button, leaving as many comments as you like will help push the engagement of this. But as you can see right here, I actually got some Super Thrive solution and mixed it into a watering can. I also use Fox Farm fertilizer, very trace amounts, as in like literally 1 drop into a gallon of water, just to give it just a little bit of solution. I actually use the Bush Doctor Fox Farm Boomerang. It's a dark fertilizer that's actually made from worm castings, and it's supposed to help bounce back the plant. So I just put a little trace amount of that. I also mix Super Thrive, and what I'm doing is I'm basically just putting these Aglaonema that I've cleaned up in water. So what I'm going to do is keep them in this nutrient solution just for a good 24 to 48 hours, maybe 72 hours, so they can literally just rehydrate, recharge. I would put all of these Aglaonema that's in this nutrient water for a good bit of time, like 2 to 3 days, maybe a week, depending on like the severity of the, getting them to rehab. But these plants actually came in pretty good. And then you can see over here, look at these roots. Like you can literally put these roots in a substrate today, but I don't really want to risk that. I really want to get them to be replenished and hydrated. Now, when I touch the roots, they're not extremely dry or dehydrated. I've seen, imports in the past where the roots literally need to be rehydrated. So at least the sphagnum moss held on to the moisture. And can we talk about how GreenspacesID does a really good job about just packaging their plants. There are a couple of other more current GreenspacesID plant reviews that I've seen. Literally, there was one person who had their package get delivered early, and that sat out into their mailbox, and their temperatures were like 32 degrees. So these plants were like sitting in like 12 hours overnight, and the plants were still alive. So with confidence, and GreenspacesID for this video didn't really sponsor me. I honestly like promoting GreenspacesID because they have been super kind to me. So one thing I love about GreenspacesID and the relationship I've created with this company is, number one, whenever I order plants, I can request to see a plant picture and, via Instagram direct message, and they'll send me a plant picture. Then they will also send me videos of some of the plants that I am receiving. And what I love about the fact is they'll send me the videos and the pictures the videos that they send me of the plants, as well as the pictures, always match the plant that I receive in the mail. So it's not like they just put a very nice looking Aglaonema and then all of a sudden when you receive yours, it doesn't look as good as theirs. So they really do stand by their products. They're very prompt in, replying to any questions or concerns. And for me, I could just ask them if they have a certain Aglaonema, and they've been able to like source it out and find it for me. So for me, I'm going to continue to buy plants from GreenspacesID. I'm hoping to get even more Aglaonema from them. Like I want to like catch them all and just get all the Aglaonema, even though I'm running out of space. But whenever it goes to like importing plants again, it's not always going to be a perfect situation. And for me, especially if you buy plants from GreenspacesID, definitely use my promo discount code GrowFolds20 for 20% off. Just remember that you shouldn't always have the most high expectations, especially when you're looking at, realistically what these plants go through. I mean, just the travel process, the mail carrier process. I wouldn't say that the mail carrying process is the best in the United States. There have been some debacles with even me sending plants to people locally that haven't gone well. And that's why I'm really impressed in the fact that from the Indonesian plant seller GreenspacesID, their packaging has always been superb. And that's just one way to get plants that are still cost effective. Now, importing plants is still slightly more expensive than, say, going to a big box store like Lowe's, Home Depot, or Walmart. But on the flip side, you're able to get plants that are not readily available in the United States. And then you also create a new journey when it comes to like importing plants from overseas. So plant foldies, as you can see right here, I'm just taking the time to get these plants situated and actually water, put them in water and let them just sit there for a little bit. Again, whenever I get a delivery from GreenspacesID, I just get so excited that I have to create a unboxing video. Now, as far as these plants, since premiering this video, these plants have actually been in my possession for about a week and a half, and things have just gone extremely well. I could do an update soon, but I'm going to give them about another month or so to show you. But as you can see, all of the Aglaonema are now in their water. So you can see this is an Aglaonema andini. Now this is a large leaf type Aglaonema. It's so beautiful. An Aglaonema light of diamond. This one's a smaller one. And then this is an Aglaonema Cinderella. Look at how faint the leaves are. I love it. And an Aglaonema pink lady. This is the one with the very small roots. So I'm hoping that it will make it through and actually develop more roots. And then the Aglaonema Deja Vu. This is my second one in my collection. I don't mind having multiples of Aglaonemas. And you can see right over here, more plant, more green spaces, and I definitely agree. And you can see that their roots, when you go look through the vase that I have them in, are super healthy as well. And I did this unboxing in the evening, and so we're gonna see what that all looks like. Again, I have discovered the art of putting plants in semihydro substrates, and they've done extremely well for me. Again, I wanted to say thank you to my friend who I connect with on GreenspacesID Instagram. You always message me plants. I wish you guys the best of luck in growing your business, and I hope to continue to receive plants from y'all. I will always take any plants that GreenspacesID wants to send me and do, plant unboxing videos just to get all of us excited. And you can see, look at those roots. So perfect and super healthy. And like I said, again, this Aglaonema basically costs as much as, say, buying a Costa Farms trending tropical plant at a big box store. So in a nutshell, if you want rare and uncommon plants, especially Aglaonemas, you must, and I say you must, try GreenspacesID. There might be some mixed reviews for some people, but I honestly think any negative reviews that people have put in for GreenspacesID, although I've not really seen seen a lot, it's really maybe because of the carrier or just how the plants got delivered. But as far as the service, as far as the source on which they get the plants, like I really do trust GreenspacesID. And this is just another example. This is a third example of at least in my opinion, a successful plant import. I mean, leave it in the comments if you agree with me or if you disagree with me. If you have bought from GreenspacesID, at least let me know what your experiences are, because at this point, all of these plants right here, absolutely stunning, and I can't wait for them to really acclimate and grow. These look really good, but I already know that they may lose a couple of more leaves here and there, and I'm okay with that. Once you understand what that process looks like in terms of importing plants, then you won't get discouraged. Sometimes knowing what to expect really takes away the stresses, the anxieties of importing plants, and I think there's not a lot of content out there with importing plants, and nowadays it's really accessible to get imports like this, especially since GreenspacesID has a broker that actually gets these plants into the country and is able to send it out to you once it passes all of the things that it needs to pass to get to your home. But this Aglaonema pink lady, for instance, is so pretty, and these are Aglaonemas that you will not see in the typical big box store. I am all about big box store plant shopping, obviously, because that's more accessible, but you got to think GreenspacesID is also accessible to many of us, especially in the United States. You can literally put in an order and expect to receive these plants within 2.5 to 3 weeks and still get a really good deal. Now, as far as whether I would recommend importing plants in the month of December, January, February, that's really up to you. I mean, I don't mind taking a little bit of a risk because, the mailing system is pretty fast about it, but you have to just be mindful in a sense that it could be a little bit risky taking these plants in during the winter season. But you can see over here, all of these roots are super healthy. You saw me unbox these, and you can see how white these roots are. You don't see any root rot or anything, which really gives me a lot of confidence that a lot of these Aglaonema, the 6 that I received from GreenspacesID, are going to do just fine. I would say if anybody asked me how many Aglaonema I have in my plant collection, I probably have a good 40 different varieties of Aglaonema, and I don't mind, getting even more Aglaonema. So if you know of any other places that sell Aglaonema, especially the more rare and uncommon ones, please let me know in the comments section. I am always all about trying to learn other sources where I can get Aglaonema. And now that I put these plants in not a soil substrate, like I grow them in lechuza pond and leca, it just makes the whole process easy. But this Aglaonema andini, for instance, look at how gorgeous the leaves are. And I have to ask why people, especially in the United States, are not as into Aglaonema. They are so easy to take care of. And I just feel like they're so underrated as a plant. I just really wish people would give it a chance. And maybe me being a little bit more passionate, and maybe some of you guys are tired of me talking about Aglaonema in every single video multiple times. That's just me. And that's the thing about this plant channel. I am always going to be myself. I like to be my most authentic self. So if I'm a little bit quirky, or if you find me a little bit silly, that's just me. I try not to put in a different type of script. A lot of my commentary is literally just me talking into my microphone as the video replays. But GreenspacesID, like, wow. You can't say that these plants are not gorgeous. Unless I am just one of those crazy people that just really find beauty in these types of plants. I think, again, for importing plants, you have to find a really trustworthy seller. And as far as GreenspacesID, they have a reputation of being around the business for more than a decade now. And the amount of reviews that you can see about them, I would say you are in safe hands if you're going to talk about finding a trustworthy seller. There are some horror stories where people will actually spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars from an online seller overseas, and they never receive their plants, and they just kind of ghost and disappear them. this is definitely never going to be the case with GreenspacesID. I have yet to hear anything of that nature. If anything, you will always see some really good commentary. So now I'm going to show you how I actually pot up the Aglaonema in a semi-hydro substrate called lechuza pond and a little bit of leca. I use the leca on the bottom of my self-watering planter with the wick. As far as my self-watering planters, I purchased them from Amazon. I get a really good deal on there. The lechuza pond, which is actually out of stock when I made this video on Amazon, was sourced out from my friend Vic of Vic and Vines. Vic and Vines is on Instagram. She is actually a local distributor of lechuza pond in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So definitely hit her up. I'm going to definitely hit her up to see if she can get me another bag because I love lechuza pond. So you can see that this plant right here, this Aglaonema andini, is now set at almost at the base, and I put the leca on there, and now I'm putting the lechuza pond. I'm actually going to try to bury more of the stem, and that's another secret with Aglaonema. So if you ever have an Aglaonema that gets a little bit leggy and loses a lot of its bottom leaves, you can either repot it and pot up the stem further into the soil, and it will make it less leggy, and eventually it will actually push babies out. So that's one thing about Aglaonema is naturally they can get leggy, but they shoot out little baby pups which makes the plant a little bit more full again. It may take some time, but as you can see right here, I am just putting some more leca to kind of like make, get my lechuza pond worth a little bit further. So I'm having a combination of both is good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to definitely put this substrate here, pat it down, shake it a little bit to make sure there are no air pockets in between the soil. And then eventually I'm going to rewater this plant with my nutrient solution, which really includes some Super Thrive, a little bit of that Boomerang Fox Farm fertilizer, like a very traced amount, to just get the plant going. And then I will water it. And then as far as like leaving it in the self-watering planter, I don't put any water or substrate or water into the self-watering reservoir for at least 3 to 4 days, just to let the plant acclimate. And then basically it will actually keep water in its self-watering planter reservoir. So as you can see right here, I am just gonna keep potting up these plants. So this is the first one right here. You can see that I am kind of patting it up, kind of getting the substrates basically spread out, and you really want to make sure there's no air pockets. But yes, lechuza pond. Let me know what you think, plant foldies, if you use lechuza pond. I know that I could probably put these Aglaonema in straight soil. The only reason why I am really gung-ho about doing semi-hydro substrates is it just makes plant care, plant maintenance a lot easier for me to maintain, because I don't have to water them as much, because I'm having to just put a water reservoir and it just soaks it up. I just have to fill the reservoir up and then I'm good to go. You can see here though, that one is already potted up, and then I'm going to pot up the next one. So the larger ones I'm actually potting up in a 6-inch self-watering planter. And some people, they don't put them in self-watering planters when doing substrates like lechuza pond or leca. Sometimes people will just put it in a jar. The reason why I like to put the plants in the self-watering planter is because I want to be able to lift the actual pot and actually do a rinse. I can actually just rinse out the lechuza pond, and then, in case maybe you get buildup on fertilizer, at least you can kind of wash it through. I mean, I feel like it's important that you have that type of option as well. But, some people, they just leave self-watering planters or just semi-hydro substrates where they just take a jar, a vase, and stick a plant in there, put that, substrate like lechuza pond or leca, and then fill it up, and they're good to go. But for me, I like the self-watering planters. It just gives me a little bit more control on what nutrient solution I put in the plants, and just being able to maintain the cleanliness of it as well. But you can see here, this one has the best roots, I would say, is the Aglaonema Sweet Dream. And I am, again, I put a little bit of the leca on the bottom first, and then mix up the lechuza pond, and then maybe put another layer of leca and then lechuza pond again. But I think for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and put a bunch of lechuza pond. It's the main substrate base for this one, but it's really easy. Lechuza pond does have some trace fertilizer nutrients already, so you don't even really need to water the substrate with like a nutrient solution. But for me, I like to do that. And, you know, as I pot these up in a semihydro substrate, just know that these plants actually sat into their glass cups with nutrient solution for a good 72 hours. So I allowed them to be in their water for at least 72 hours, so 3 days, and it really did hydrate them. They perked up even more so, and, you know, super happy about that. I don't know if you have any questions so far about the whole process. Hopefully this video of me unboxing the plants to rehabbing them to potting them up in the substrates, let me know what you think. Again, I love comments. You know, I love the engagement that our plant foldy community does. And for those that do have questions about importing plants, or if you are interested in buying plants from GreenspacesID, if you have Instagram, I could even create a group chat with you in GreenspacesID and you can interact with them. I do encourage everybody to at least give them a try if you're wanting to, say, get a Christmas present for you. You know, I kind of justify spending and splurging money on these Aglaonema from overseas as more of like a holiday Christmas present. I work extremely hard. When I say my career is very demanding outside of my plant hobby, my YouTube channel, it definitely is. But then when I reflect back on why I work so hard in the current career I am in, I'm at least thankful that it's been able to provide the monetary funds to be able to fund a hobby like this. Because if I didn't have that stability, I don't think I would necessarily spend this kind of money on houseplants. So it is a give or take. I want to just try to justify my splurging, though, of these imported plants as a reward for myself. I think that when it comes down to it, self-care is definitely needed. I always encourage anybody who watches my channel to really be, all about taking care of yourself, whether it's taking time for yourself, whether it's practicing mindfulness where you allow yourself not to be distracted by outside factors, whether it's you immersing yourself in just enjoying your plants. And for me, I've done a lot of that, and it's really helped with my stresses and anxieties over the holidays. And, even being able to pot up these plants, being able to talk about these plants for our viewers and just really giving you my plant insights. Again, I really appreciate that. For the plant foldies, again, that watch the plant podcast last night, Cultivation Corner Plant Podcast show with Janae Simone and Steven of I Live Plants. To be quite honest, I was really nervous to see, what that reception would look like. I know that we have been promoting it for a good 2.5, 3 weeks. And then, the day finally happened. And I tell you, there was close to 100 people watching that video live. There was a lot of engagement in the live chat, and it was just such a fun time. And we're hoping, between me, Janae, and Steven, that we can even do more interactive videos aside from the plant podcast. Although the whole concept of the plant podcast Cultivation Corner really was to have a venue, a space for anybody who loves plants to listen to plant topics. Because based on what I've heard from some of our plant foldies or people who love plants, not everybody has like a whole group of people that can really interact and talk about plants, whether it's just somebody that you don't see on a daily basis. Oftentimes we find each other through social media, through Facebook groups, through Instagram, or, better yet, on a YouTube channel like Grow Folds. And having that plant podcast available every week, we'll be having a new video. We have 6 videos for the season 1, and then eventually season 2 is going to be made sometime earlier the next year. We'll have that ready to go. But as you can see right here, the first 2 Aglaonema, I've got in substrates, and what I'm doing is I've got the water solution ready to go. So what I do, and I would not recommend this actually, if it wasn't super cold outside, I would actually take a hose and hose down and clean the lechuza pond and leca substrate. You want to wash out the extra dirt around it. So this is kind of risky doing that in your sink. Luckily, I have a garbage disposal, so I'm going to immediately use use my garbage disposal to try to get rid of any of the just the sediment that is left behind. And once you actually water the semihydro substrate, either the lechuza pond or leca, with just water, that's when I go back and actually water it with my nutrient solution, just to give the plant a little bit of a boost. And you can see right over here that I planted the Aglaonema a little bit further down into the pot because I want to try not to make it look as leggy. And you can see over here, I am putting this nutrient solution. So a little bit of things that I put in the nutrient solution. It's definitely got Super Thrive vitamin B. I've got that boomerang, bounce back fertilizer by Fox Farm, a very, very trace amount. And I also used some silica solution. Now the silica solution actually makes the plant more heat hardy, cold tolerant, and it helps the roots from root rot. So I think it's a really good addition to it, especially when you're trying to reestablish the roots and really get the plant going. But you can see right here, I've got this plant ready to go. I've watered it, and now I am taking my Foldy Mist, which is basically the neem oil spray that I make, and I'm spraying it down. So it's going to give it a nice leaf shine, but more so it's going to protect the plant from any plant pests like thrifts or anything else. You have to think these plants have gone through a lot of stress, so they're going to be most susceptible to plant pests. And then I'm just going to stick this plant into its self-watering planter. You can see that the self-watering planter doesn't have a substrate. It does have a substrate. It's lechuza pond, but I'm saying it doesn't have a water reservoir. And then you can see right over here, this is the Aglaonema Pink Lady. Really love this. And with this Aglaonema, just like most Aglaonemas that are very colorful, they need a little bit more light, bright light. Although this can tolerate lower light conditions, you're not going to get the nice pink color unless you actually give it more bright indirect light. And you can see there is already a growth point right over here. Mind you, as the weeks come around, it is expected that some of these leaves will fall off. Just because, number one, especially with this Aglaonema, this one didn't have as many roots. So it's going to have to put a lot of energy to actually reestablish its roots. So when you think about a plant that is imported, it has gone through a lot of stresses through the travel. It's going to acclimate into an environment. While it's acclimating, it's going to pretty much sacrifice anything that's taking a lot of energy from the plant's long-term ability to live. So you'll see some of these leaves, like that one leaf with the yellow on the very right, I'm pretty sure is going to eventually turn yellow and fall off. And I'm okay with that. And the only reason why I say that is because that's happened to some of my plant imports in the past. And, when I first saw that, I started to freak out that it was really declining in its health. But naturally, it's just part of the process when it comes to importing plants. And that's the thing about importing plants. It's not necessarily going to be for anybody. It's going to be for somebody that, one, I would say you should have a little bit of experience with just buying plants and taking care of the plants you can find at a big box store or a local nursery that's already been growing in the, whatever country you're at. And then number two, you have to be a little bit more of a helicopter person when it comes to just checking the plant consistently. So sometimes with Aglaonema, you can basically just shove it in a dark corner, leave it alone, don't water it, and it'll be fine. But when it comes to like actually acclimating these imported Aglaonema, for instance, you're going to have to check on it a little bit more. I know that any imported plant, again, is going to be more susceptible to plant pests because it is in a vulnerable state. It's in a more of a shocked, stressed state. And so, staying on top of spraying it down with neem oil or some type of pest preventative is really going to help it. But as you can see right here, that's all I'm basically doing. I'm just going to keep repeating this process of, watering it, really cleaning out the semihydro substrate all the way, and then watering it with a nutrient solution. I mean, can you see this? Look at how beautiful the pink coloration is on this Aglaonema andini. I do plan on getting more Aglaonema from GreenspacesID, so expect another unboxing video within 2, maybe 3 weeks. Maybe it'll get to me faster. And again, my experiences with GreenspacesID, they are so kind, so receptive, very quick to respond to any of my questions I send via Instagram to their account. and they're able to source me even more plants. So, it doesn't help, hurt to ask them directly if they have a certain plant that they can import for you. Obviously, you can go through their website, GreenspacesID.com, GreenspacesID, and you can, purchase that. It's a really easy process. And again, when it comes down to importing plants, you just have to really be patient. I just get a little, super excited when it comes to these imported plants because I just want them to just like magically appear. But it does take time for them to get the phytosanitary certificate. That's really the process that takes the longest because they have to get these plants pest free. They've got to get them out of soil. They've got to make sure that they pass all the regulations in their home country and then be able to be granted a phytosanitary certificate that can be presented to the country that it's entering. So there is a whole process for it. But what's impressive about GreenspacesID again is they make it easy. You don't have to worry about that. You literally just have to pick the plants, interact with them if you like, if you need a little bit more assurance, and just wait 2.5 to 3 weeks, just depending on where you're from, at least in the United States, North Dallas where I'm based at. That's really the turnaround for these plants. Now, there are some other sellers that you can import plants from. Like I know there's some Indonesian sellers from Etsy or eBay, but again, you really have to do your research when it comes to these importers. I would say look at the reviews, but not only look at the reviews of the sellers, look at click on the person that's doing the review, because there are some times where some people have these fabricated reviews where clearly somebody just made up a review just to have a review. So definitely look at that. The more reviews a shop has, the better chances of you actually getting a really good seller. But for me, I don't really have to look too far because I've established a pretty good rapport with GreenspacesID, or better yet, GreenspacesID has me sold. Like I trust them to get me the plants that I need. I am thankful that they're able to get the Aglaonema I am looking for, and more so, I know that if I want to continue to grow my Aglaonema collection, and they offer other plants, obviously like Philodendron monstera, all of that, definitely check out their website. But especially for somebody like me who, I decided that instead of me just trying to collect every single plant, I want my plant collection to be a little bit more curated, a little bit more intentional. So I've chosen mostly Aglaonema because it fits my lifestyle. As far as Aglaonema, it still fits the characteristics of what the aesthetics of the plants I want. I want something colorful. I want something with really big, robust leaves. I want something that I can still propagate. I want something that doesn't really require a lot of care in terms of consistent watering, lighting conditions. And for the most part, Aglaonema are really not pest prone unless you just allow a pest to attack it and just not do anything about it. But I know that I've been talking throughout this video, but I just love, basically telling you my thoughts about it. You could consider my plant channel almost like a podcast solo of myself. So whenever I got involved with the Cultivation Corner Plant podcast, for me, it was super easy to have that chemistry with Janae Simone and Steven of I Live Plants. Again, if you haven't subscribed to their YouTube channels, please subscribe to my friend at Janae Simone and Steven at I Live Plants to see their plant content. We are super excited to keep making those plant podcasts, and we're super proud. I mean, the fact that we were able to get a lot of that Dallas-Fort Worth plant community support from the first episode. Hopefully we can, maybe grow to be a little bit more nationwide. I never really consider myself a plant influencer. I would just consider myself somebody who obsesses about plants, somebody who has a plant addiction that doesn't mind sharing my plant conversation with all of you guys, wherever you are in the world. And you can see right here, this is probably my favorite one of all the Aglaonemas that I got. This is the Aglaonema Sweet Dream. And you could just see that this plant has like some really nice beige tan peach color around it, and it's already fairly established. I mean, you can clearly see that. And then I'm just gonna go pot up the last two Aglaonema. So these ones actually have been sitting in water for 4 days. I had to wait for my self-watering planters to come in from Amazon. I didn't have enough to just completely do it, so it's the same process. So for me, take the self-watering planter, make sure that there is a wick, and then I actually mixed up a little bit more leca into the lechuza pond because I want to stretch the amount of lechuza pond I have. I still have my Anthurium Dock Block Michelle by Proven Winners that I searched for at Home Depot. I just feel confident in putting, say, Anthuriums in lechuza pond. Really, you can get away with using leca instead for Aglaonema. Their roots are not necessarily fine. They're actually pretty thick and robust. So you can get away with leca, but I just feel like lechuza pond is more of a premium type of semihydro substrate. I've seen some really good growth from most plants that I've seen. And like I said, again, it just makes taking care of plants a lot easier. So we'll just take a look at the rest of the potting process here, and I'll show you how I clean the substrate, water it with nutrient solution, and then just give you a final thoughts about this whole process. And you can see that the Aglaonema Deja Vu, I'm going to plant it further down into the self-watering planter. Now, this self-watering planter I'm using is actually going to be a 5-inch. It's not quite as big as the 6-inch, obviously, because the plant's not that large. Again, whenever you are using semi-hydro substrate, you still want to think about the plant sizing. You don't want it to be too large to the point where it is still holding a lot of that moisture, but there's not enough root system for it. Eventually, I will upsize this, but the good thing about Aglaonema is they can be a little bit more root bound and they should be okay. I am just really excited to see the Aglaonema Deja Vu grow, and if I get lucky enough to where these actually grow up to be more mature plants and actually have baby pups to share, I would love to even share it with some of our plant foldies, any of my viewers and subscribers, and actually do some plant giveaways. So if you're actually interested in me importing an Aglaonema specifically to do as a free plant giveaway on my Instagram, please leave that in the comments. I want to expose people to more of these rare and uncommon varieties of Aglaonemas, as well as just, again, doing this unboxing video review of GreenspacesID. Hopefully, I give you a little bit more confidence, a little bit more insight about possibly doing an import or possibly buying from greenspaces.id, their website. If you do, and if you do send a direct message to GreenspacesID on Instagram, please let them know Richie of Growfold sent you there, and then use my my discount code GrowFolds20 for 20% off of your purchase. GreenspacesID has so many different types of plants. So if you're into anthuriums, even variegated anthuriums, different types of monsteras, syngoniums, sansevierias, even those rare croton plants. And yes, I did mention croton plants because there are varieties of crotons that we never see. So it's not going to be the typical croton petras we were seeing in the month of October at big box stores. So as you can see here, though, this Aglaonema Cinderella, she definitely looks like Cinderella here. Look at how pretty she is. We're just getting that substrate washed off. You want to make sure that your lechuza pond, you get all of that that substrate cleaned up and all of that extra dust in it is actually washed away. And now I'm taking my nutrient solution. Again, when it comes to nutrient solution, less is more. Putting a micro dose of plant nutrient solution is still going to do better than overdosing the plant with a lot of nutrients. That's how you end up burning roots, and that's how you end up sending a plant to plant heaven. So, err with caution. It's kind of like the same thing with somebody who overwaters. Underwatering is better in a sense that you're not putting that much solution into the plant. As the plant establishes a little bit more, you can possibly give them a little bit more nutrient solution. So like for me, it's all about starting out very slow and getting these plants acclimated. I am just excited though that, this whole process has been super easy for me. And every time I interact with GreenspacesID, I pretty much actually do on a daily basis, to be honest, because I'm always looking for plants that they are having on sale. That is a double-edged sword when it comes to somebody who loves plants. And I don't know if you guys can relate to me about just feeling the need to buy plants, like feeling the need to say, oh my gosh, I saw this gorgeous Aglaonema deja vu, I have to have it. Even though maybe number one, your plant budget may not necessarily have the budget, or number two, you have like 300 plants and you can't keep up with it. That's kind of the, where I'm at a little bit, but you live once. I am making a couple of adjustments heading into 2025. Some people say, why wait till the new year? I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those processes where it just has to take a little bit of time for me. But yes, these Aglaonema by GreenspacesID traveled very well. I mean, you can see right off the hand, and you can see that even after being in a nutrient solution, hydrated in a cup of water, for about 3 to 4, these ones have been sitting, this one right here specifically has been sitting in nutrient solution for about 4 days. It's perked up. It doesn't even look like it traveled. And, spraying it with my Foldy Mist or my DIY neem oil spray solution, it's a 2-in-1 special. It kills pest and makes your plant shiny. It's one of those things that works for me, and I'm just glad that I can show you this process. So if you've never imported plants from overseas, this is another importing video. I actually have several on this channel. I know a lot of my plant content really revolves around big box store plant shopping, and people ask me why I do big box stores. Again, it's because not everybody has access or the funds to really spend money on, say, importing plants. Or you may not live in a metropolitan area like the Dallas-Fort Worth area where you have so many local nurseries. And, as far as just the plants, big box stores, they're just easy. They're just more accessible. And I feel like the plant foldy community should be an accessible one. I don't think it needs to be an elitist. Only people who collect rare plants, variegated plants are welcome. That's not the case. I want everybody to feel comfortable, to feel safe, to share their plant collection. I want somebody to be able to go to my YouTube channel and celebrate having multiple golden pothos. Like, I love that. Basic is great. But then again, it's also nice to share some of these more uncommon and rare plant finds. And, as far as the Aglaonema I received from GreenspacesID, they didn't cost me an arm and a leg. They actually were very cost effective. And if you're wanting to save more money, definitely get a bunch of people to do one large order. You'll save more money on the shipping. But here is a final recap of my plants. You can see Aglaonema Sweet Dream. We've got an Aglaonema Andini over here. What a beautiful plant. There's just a little bit yellowing, but I am confident that that plant is going to bounce back. And then right over here, we've got an Aglaonema Pink Lady. And the more bright indirect light you give it, the more pastel pink it's going to get, the more the veining is going to look a little bit more pronounced. And then, as far as my half dozen of Aglaonema I received from GreenspacesID, super excited. And you can see over here, Aglaonema Light of Diamond. Now, this one you can actually find from some sellers out in the United States, but they're still very expensive. I ended up getting that one, I believe, for $25. And then right over here, we've got an Aglaonema Cinderella. It looks very similar to an Aglaonema Frozen, which I also have. And these plants are just fabulous. And you can see that this one is very faint. And that's the thing about Aglaonemas, is there's just so many varieties. And then you can see right here, Aglaonema Deja Vu. For the plant foldies that made it this far, again, thank you for watching all the way through this far. If you haven't already, please make sure you are hitting the like button. Also, leave comments, questions about GreenSpaces ID. Let me know what Aglaonema you thought was the best out of my haul today. I've got 6 of them. I'm just really curious about your thoughts and your insights. You already know that any commentary you guys give me, I really do value. I value each and every plant foldy that just invests any time. And, you know, on behalf of the Cultivation Corner, please continue to watch our plant podcast and definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please hit the like button and also shop GreenspacesID. Use my promo code GrowFolds20 for 20% off your purchases. This is Richie. I definitely enjoyed showing you my imports today. I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at GrowFolds, and today we'll be talking about importing houseplants from GreenspacesID. This is an unboxing. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. It definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself. I'd really appreciate that support, as well as following me on Instagram at GrowFolds. That is the fastest way to get in touch with me directly if you want to send me a direct message. So for those that are new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome. My name is Richie. As you can see right here, I am doing another GreenspacesID unboxing. I have ordered and purchased plants from them several times, and I've had some amazing experiences with GreenspacesID. So today you'll be seeing an unboxing from me. I will give you my plant insights, ways to save money on importing plants, and talk about just the whole process of getting imported plants from overseas. Now, mind you, in terms of just GreenspacesID, I would say that they make getting plants from overseas a lot easier because you don't necessarily have to worry about having an import license. The reason being is they have a broker or somebody that is able to get these plants legally into the United States, called plantshop.us. I believe that that's where the destination goes first before it actually makes it into our home. So a little bit of some more insight. I ended up getting an order placed on November 30th, and I know that this video is a little bit later. I just haven't had time to make it, but I received this shipment on December 22nd. So theoretically about 2.5 to 3 weeks process from placing the order, from getting the plants shipped overseas and then delivered. A lot of the times, you know, when it comes to imported plants, what makes it the process longer is because the host country or the seller has to get a phytosanitary certificate issued by their government in order for it to meet the regulations to enter the United States. So, you know, as far as GreenspacesID, again, it's just a really good company. You can see right here, they have all of the items and plants packed well. This has already made it to their first stop, which is New Jersey, and then it ends up going to my home, which is based out in North Dallas. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, I like to do unboxing videos. GreenspacesID has always been kind to me. Whenever I need to reach out to them, I can just send them a direct message on Instagram. And as far as the plants, I've already seen what plants I was going to receive because I did ask them for a favor in terms of them actually either sending pictures of the plants or better yet, sending videos, small little video clips of the plant. So the first one right here is going to be an Aglaonema. This one is called the Aglaonema Mahasadi. And we're going to see what this looks like. Now, as far as the packaging, again, GreenspacesID does an impeccable job of packaging. You know, when you think about getting plants from overseas, especially in the United States during the winter months, you always worry about what the plants are going to look like. And you can see from the get-go, this one right here shipped very well. Now, as far as like the foliage, whenever you're getting imported plants from overseas, you don't necessarily want to focus a lot on the foliage. Obviously, you want to make sure that it's not just losing all its leaves, but you really want to look at the roots. The roots are the most important part when it comes to getting plants from overseas. If you notice, it isn't in sphagnum moss, so you want to make sure that if you have a seller that's sending you plants, that they are following the protocol of getting plants to you, and that is only through shipping sphagnum moss. You know, putting soil substrate into the package is not allowed from overseas. overseas because it could potentially have pests. So as far as any plants that you will receive from GreenSpaces ID, it will always be wrapped in sphagnum moss. I always call it as like plant diapers, but let's go ahead and take the sphagnum moss off and kind of inspect the roots. That's one thing I will say you can already see from the get-go, especially with Aglaonema, you want roots that are pretty thick and white. If you see anything that is mushy brown, that's not always a good sign for the roots. So as far as this one right here, I'm really excited for the first plant that I got from GreenSpaces ID. A lot of these plants are going to be Aglaonemas because Indonesia is a place where they have so many varieties of Aglaonema. I'm going to go ahead and take some of the dead leaves that are about to die off the plant. For me, I do that just because I already know that the plant is going to put some energy in trying to keep that leaf alive. I would rather it focus on either developing a more stronger root system or just giving that energy to the remaining healthy leaves. And that's the thing, as far as getting plants from overseas, it is normal. And I say this, it is normal for the leaves to either be yellowing or having some of those leaves not make it. It is part of the process, because when you think about it, these plants have to be uprooted from their soil substrates, cleaned out, washed out, disinfected, make sure that all of the pests are gone, and then there has to be a slight drying process. And then on top of that, you also have to think that they are traveling several thousand miles from a Southeast Asian country, tropical country, into the United States. So they undergo a lot of stress. Now this one right here is an Aglaonema kumkum. This one is actually a plant that I got from my good friend Janae Simone. She loves Aglaonemas. And so here's the thing about importing plants or getting plants specifically from GreenSpaces ID. If you want to save money on the import as far as just like the shipping, I would suggest getting several friends to order one big order. It is a little bit more complicated when you order more than 12 plants, but if you're just looking to get a dozen plants and you want to split the cost for shipping, go ahead and do a order with your friends. So this one right here is an Aglaonema kumkum, beautiful pink foliage, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of the yellowing leaves. It's normal again to just get rid of some of these leaves right here, that one over here as well, and then there's another one that's kind of a straggler. I honestly am probably going to get rid of that when I actually pot this plant up. But look at how nice and long the roots are. They're super healthy. And we're going to continue to do this unboxing. So a couple of my friends actually ended up doing an order with me. So it was Janae Simone, Stephen of I Live Plants. So both of my co-hosts from a plant podcast that I recently joined. It's called The Cultivation Corner. We have episodes premiere at 7:30 Central Standard Time on the Cultivation Corner YouTube channel. It is a plant podcast show where we talk about all things related to plants. So I hope you guys will actually tune in. Episode 5 will be premiering tomorrow as I upload this video and premiere. So I hope you guys enjoy that and join it. It is on the topic of how we started our plant journey. And, you know, that's something that's super exciting. But to go back to this import, again, plant foldies, this is actually an Aglaonema bicolor. So what made me really happy about GreenSpaces ID is whenever I do massive orders or stay as what they call a loyal customer, they end up sending me bonus plants or free plants. So I'm really excited to get an Aglaonema bicolor. Now there is an Aglaonema pictum tricolor, but the bicolor is really cool because it has a darker foliage on it, if you notice, and it is just got two-tone color, and I really like that. As far as 2025, you know, it is the new year. Couple of updates about my personal life and just things that are going on. Really happy to be done with the holidays. I spent 2 days working on my actual house and doing just New Year's cleanup, and all of my plant room is set up. So I will be able to do a house plant tour very soon. I promise you guys, plant foldies, I'm super excited about that. But that's something that will be shown soon, and you will see that I have a massive Aglaonema collection. And, as far as GreenSpaces ID, again, if you want plants that are a little bit harder to get in the United States, you want plants that are healthy, you can see from the get-go that when I do an unboxing video, you're definitely seeing firsthand about what plants I'm receiving from overseas and the status of how I receive them. A couple of other things I wanted to talk about with importing plants is if you get a plant that, an import or just plants from overseas and they come off perfect, know that there is an acclimation period for the plants, whether you need to either repropagate them or get some more viable roots before you can actually get the plants to acclimate to your space. What I mean to say is sometimes the plants may look perfect, but then about a week or two, there might be a slight decline in their health. That is also normal. Do not panic. I would also say, as I do this unboxing video, like this is another Aglaonema cum. Now this one I paid a little bit more because this one is a little bit larger of an Aglaonema. Notice that it's got some beautiful pink. Some people will say it looks like an Aglaonema Lady Valentine, but if you really look at the nuances of the actual plant, you can see that it is got a little bit more narrow leaf, and the pink is a little bit darker, and then also the green is a little bit darker green as compared to some of the pink varieties that we find in the United States. You can see that I am still taking the sphagnum moss off of this plant. I'm really excited because if you notice plant foldies, all of the roots are super viable, super healthy, and this is the reason why, again, I would highly recommend GreenspacesID. If you are interested in importing plants or getting plants from GreenspacesID, feel free to send me a message, a direct message on my Instagram at Growfold. What I can do is actually place you with the GreenspacesID Instagram and do a direct group chat with them to introduce you to GreenspacesID, and then you can continue on with your order. I've done that for about 2 plant foldies. Super excited. I know one empty nest plants actually did an import from GreenspacesID. Super excited, and they were able to get their plants from overseas. So I love the fact that she was able to get some really good plants. And I have another plant foldy that actually sent me a direct message asking me about Aglaonemas, and we were able to set up an actual order. So you can see again, plant foldies, the way we've started out. This is an Aglaonema Gold Star. Love the Aglaonema Gold Star. I'm just unboxing this again, and for those that have made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching this this unboxing video of GreenspacesID imported overseas houseplants. Sometimes shopping for overseas plants, it's actually exciting because the process is slightly longer than, say, ordering from a domestic seller. But whenever you get plants like this, I'm going to tell you from the get-go, I'm really satisfied and excited with the plant status that I've gotten so far today. You can see that they are healthy. There's just a couple of leaves that are a little bit yellowing, but again, that is totally normal. What's more important for me is the roots, and I'm going to go through the whole process, and please make sure you are watching through the entire video to see me actually clean the roots, put them in a acclimation jar, which is some nutrient water, and then I'm going to pot these up in semi-hydroponic substrates. So you can choose to plant these in either soil substrates, although I would recommend them really acclimating to their space. Give them at least 24 to 48 hours to soak in nutrient water, which I will get into as soon as I'm done unboxing all of these plants. But as you can see right here, the roots look pretty good, and I just had to take about 2 dead leaves off. And again, that's my choice of getting rid of the dead leaves. It's because I want the plant to actually put more energy into the actual remaining healthy leaves and actually put more energy into producing more viable roots. And that's really the case. But if you have any questions about GreenspacesID, please leave that in the comment section. If you have plant insights, please leave that in the comment section. I really love that engagement from y'all. And if you haven't already, plant foldies, please make sure you are hitting the like button or pressing the thumbs up button for this video. It definitely helps push this channel out to more plant lovers like yourself, especially for those that may not be exposed to getting plants from overseas. Maybe that's something that you have never really thought of, and I'm hoping that we can get even more plant foldies to look at buying plants from GreenspacesID. I know a couple years back, getting plants from overseas was a little bit more common. I think it's because there was that, houseplant craze where we all wanted to just collect plants back in 2020. I do think that there is a surge of love for plants again. What I'm really excited about, just looking at the new year, especially in 2025, it is the first week of the new year, is even going big box store plant shopping. I've been able to find some new plants by like Costa Farms. There's already plants that are already restocking in these big box stores, even though we're still in the winter. So that's really exciting. But as far as imported plants this year or plants from overseas, I am excited to be able to get more plants from GreenspacesID. I'm collecting more Aglaonema. If you're looking for anthuriums, if you're looking for philodendron, they are a place where you can source out a lot of those plants. And again, the communication that GreenspacesID gives to their potential buyers is impeccable. The customer service is great. They're very reachable. So if you have any questions, they usually respond within 24 hours. For me, I'm always texting and chatting with them almost on a daily basis, even if I don't have plants that I'm ordering. I think it's because I just have built a relationship with the GreenspacesID. They also have live selling videos that they do on Instagram. So definitely check that out, where they also give out free plant giveaways. Myself and Steven of I Live Plants ended up winning some free plants, which I am going to be getting in the mail again. I'm also placing another order from GreenspacesID, but you can see right here, we've got some gorgeous, more Aglaonema. This is an Aglaonema in tan, which kind of looks like an Aglaonema frozen. So we're going to take a look at this. This is one that I really wanted to get. I love the fact that it has some pink stems, and I can see that there might be 2 or 3 leaves that I'm going to have to take off of this plant. But overall, if you ask me if I'm satisfied, I'm highly satisfied with just the whole process of GreenspacesID. And so we'll see what other plants I get. It is a plant haul. I love doing plant shopping hauls and just shopping hauls in general. I think that it definitely gives us some more excitement to go plant shopping. You can see right here, beautiful root, beautiful plant. Leave in the comment section if you agree. Leave in the comment section if you've actually bought plants from GreenspacesID. If you haven't already, make sure to follow them on Instagram. Make sure to leave a comment in their comment section. Tell them you found them through GrowFold's YouTube channel. I love sending plant foldies to them. And as far as like GreenspacesID, again, I mean, this is super exciting. It definitely was an early Christmas present for me in hindsight. I mean, the fact that I received this on December 26th, you will see that. And actually, when I pot up these plants, you'll see that they were actually sitting in their nutrient water substrate for a little while longer than I wanted them to be. But as you can see right here, this is a Dieffenbachia round variegated form. Now, this one was a plant that I ordered from my friend Kuya Craig, he Plantito of the Kuya Craig Plantito YouTube channel. He is a good friend of mine. He actually works for a nursery out here in the North Dallas area. So he wanted me to actually order him this. You can see from the get-go, there is one leaf that doesn't look like it's going to make it. But, this is a little bit more of a pricey plant. It looks like there's 2 leaves, which, as far as that, again, it's one of those things where it does happen where sometimes the leaves don't make it. But you got to think again that this was shipped in temperatures that potentially were really cold. I mean, it has to go to the East Coast in New Jersey and it's already cold. But if you notice, the box was actually insulated with that metallic insulation. So, that's good. But as far as this right here, we're going to just clean this plant up. What I'm most concerned about is the roots. If the roots are brown and mushy, then we've got problems. But you can see from the get-go, yes, GreenspacesID has also delivered right here in terms of just the plant's roots. So I am just going to get rid of this dead leaf right here. And we're going to go ahead and get rid of this one as well, because it looks like it's out of its, it's going to make it to plant heaven. But if you notice closely, there is already a new leaf that is pushing out and unfurling. But what's more important is you can see that the roots are super clean, and you've got even, secondary roots where they're a little bit more fine. But what a beautiful variegated Dieffenbachia. I definitely want to get one from my plant collection. You know, as far as Dieffenbachias, again, plant care tips would be they do need quite a bit of bright indirect light. Make sure that you are giving them a little bit more humidity and they will do well for you. But let me go ahead and clean up this little mess of mine. You know, as far as like unboxing, I try not to have as big of a mess, but you know, sometimes that happens. But anyways, plant foldies, if you have any questions so far, please leave that in the comment section. Let me know what you think about these plants. And also, if you're interested in purchasing plants from GreenspacesID, definitely go to GreenspacesID. That's their website. And you can use my promo code GROWFOLDS20 for 20% off your entire purchase, which is a really good discount from GreenspacesID. Now, the next plant we're going to get is an Aglaonema frozen. Let's take a look and just see what the Aglaonema frozen is going to look like right here. You can see from the get-go. So now this one is probably the first plant that I have probably the most concern about. And the only reason being is the majority of the leaves are yellow. So we're gonna see if this one's gonna actually make it. I'm gonna take a look at the roots, but quite honestly, this one is my first time actually seeing a plant in this status in terms of just what plants I receive from GreenspacesID. Typically they are perfect, are close to perfect, but this one right here has some opportunities. Again, that's not, you know, GreenspacesID's fault, because when I did see the video of this particular Aglaonema, it was in perfect condition. But you know, whenever you're transferring plants from overseas, and you can see that the roots are not in the best shape either. So as far as this plant right here, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the obvious yellow leaves that are not going to make it, but I may go ahead and just reach out to GreenspacesID and see if they can work with either getting me a replacement plant, see what we can do. But as far as this, I'm still going to work on trying to get this plant revived. It's not that it's a dead plant, but you can see right here, there's a yellow leaf, and I'm going to go ahead and take that one off. I mean, I just feel like that one's just going to take up some energy. So we're going to see what this plant looks like. The thing about Aglaonema is they are slower growing plants. So as far as getting it rehabbed to the point where it's healthy again will take some time. I would estimate a good month or two. So it's going to take a long process. So I'm going to go ahead and reach out to GreenspacesID after I was done with this this unboxing. So this one right here is another Aglaonema simplex variegated. So we're going to take a look at this one. So this one I was actually super excited about because it is kind of like in that Aglaonema pictum realm, that type of family of Aglaonema. And you can see right here, unfortunately, this one also looks like it might have some potential. You know, when you talk about like yellowing leaves being natural, yes, but if you got majority of yellowing leaves on there, then that means that either the plant might have been in some cold weather, and that's the reason why sometimes whenever you're ordering plants from overseas, you want to kind of time out what time of the year you're purchasing it. So for instance, in the summertime, in the hot months of June, July, and August, I wouldn't necessarily receive plants from GreenspacesID. And the reason being is I get 100+ degree weather out in North Dallas. So that's just not the best time to actually get plants. I would say even in the winter time, that's not always the best time. So maybe some of this might have been just cold damage. But then again, you think about it, a lot of these plants were actually in the same box, and the majority of them, except for maybe these two that I just unboxed, may have some opportunities. I mean, you can see that the leaves are a little bit yellow, actually a lot yellow. And so for me, you know, doing these unboxing review videos, I love the fact that I'm able to at least give you an honest review and give you insights on what potentially you can experience whenever you're getting plants. I think that that's really important whenever you're doing YouTube plant content, that you show not only the positives, but the opportunities in just plants in general. But as far as this one right here, so here's the good thing about this Aglaonema simplex variegated is you can see that the roots are super viable and super healthy. So yes, I'm going to take a lot of these plant leaves off. It's probably going to get super leggy. So what I would do if I was going to actually try to keep this alive is I would definitely put this in a substrate, a semihydro substrate, and plant the plant as far down into the planter so it can actually either push out some more you know, leaves or just new growth. You can notice here though that the leaves are, I mean, at least the roots are really nice. nice. But, I am making a mess plant foldies. So that is, the biggest opportunity. Is those last two that I just unboxed. But overall, super excited about all the other ones that I've been able to unbox. We're going to take a look at this. So this one is an Aglaonema Adela, and I was able to order one as well from my good friend, Steven of I Live Plants. He has a YouTube channel, and the reason why I wanted to get this is if you look at how gorgeous the undersides of this Aglaonema is, super stunning. And you can see that even though I had two potential casualties in this order, I don't have any qualms about it, because I already know that GreenspacesID will take care of me, whether they're going to give me a replacement plant, credit toward a new plant. And that's the thing. Whenever you receive plants from a seller like GreenspacesID, it's very important to reach out to them immediately if you have any opportunities with some of the plants not looking or meeting the expectations you were looking for. Now, as far as expectations, again, plant foldies, you can't always ask for a perfect condition plant. So therefore, if there's like one or two yellowing leaves, you can't say, hey, this plant is damaged. It's just part of the process. Now, if the roots are not healthy, that's when you can reach out and say that it may not make it. But as far as this right here, Aglaonema Adela, it's got some really good roots right here. And that's another thing I like about importing plants, is because they are shipped bare root, which makes it easier for me to do semi-hydroponic substrates. It's easy for me to do that because basically I just have to clean the roots a little bit more. I don't have to worry about actually getting rid of all of the soil, because the seller from overseas has already gotten rid of all traces of soil. So super excited about that. And then let's take a look at this one right here. Now, this one is the main event. This one is actually a variegated Anthurium clavinarum, and this one is actually an order I did for my friend that Sean. He collects anthuriums, and he's actually purchased a lot of anthuriums from overseas as well at PlantCon 2024 and even at the Texas Aeroid Show. So definitely want to check out all of these anthuriums. And again, if you are an anthurium lover or somebody who likes to collect anthuriums as part of their collection, GreenspacesID has them, and we got a really good price for this particular variegated anthurium here. So I was really excited. And again, as far as just getting a bunch of friends to do a massive plant order from GreenspacesID, I will say that you will save a lot of money on the shipping, even though I would say the shipping didn't cost nearly as much as you would think. It really just depends on how many plants you're purchasing. If you have any questions about that, I would definitely reach out to GreenspacesID. You can send them a direct message on Instagram, or you can just connect with me as well, and we'll see what we can do in terms of just placing your first order. But as far as this variegated Anthurium clavinarum, stunning roots. It looks like it's super healthy. And, as far as anthuriums, I say if you put them in a semihydro substrate like lechuza pond or even leca, they will do amazing. I'm really excited that this one came in almost perfect condition. And, this was probably the most expensive plant of this actual plant haul. And as far as the anthurium, I'm just glad I was able to get it for my friend Sean. Hopefully it will grow well in his care. And look at that variegation right there. If you haven't already, please make sure you're hitting the like button or the thumbs up button if you agree on how gorgeous this one is. This one is a really nice looking anthurium again, and I will be able to get this to him soon. So if you are interested in doing a plant import haul from GreenspacesID and you're in the local Dallas-Fort Worth area, definitely send me a direct message. Maybe we can work something out. I know that the next step I'm going to show you is actually cleaning the plant with my neem oil spray. So I actually make a DIY neem oil spray, and what I do is I mix a mixture of 2 tablespoons of cold pressed neem oil that I bought from Amazon. I also put 2 tablespoons of rubbing alcohol, either 70 to 90% strength, 2 tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide, a drop of dishwashing liquid soap into a conventional spray bottle, fill it up with water, shake, 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 and you have a DIY neem oil spray. So what I do whenever I get all of the plants from their sphagnum mosses, I will take them to the sink. I will spray the tops of the leaves, the bottoms of the leaves, leaves, the stems, the roots, especially the roots, and let the neem oil spray sit on the plant for, maybe 5 minutes or so. And then what I do is I'll go and get some running water and actually start cleaning the roots. Not that these plants really need an extensive cleaning, but just to be on the safe side, I like to just spray my plants down. As a rule of thumb, whenever you're buying plants or you're putting plants in your plant collection that are new to your house, you always want to just have that air of caution in making sure that you are cleaning them and making sure that there are no potential pests sitting on them. So I tend to just overspray them and spray them with some neem oil. And you can see right here, now that they've been sitting there with the neem oil spray solution, hopefully it kills any potential eggs, any potential pests. And I really go ahead and clean the roots of the actual plants. Now I'll leave the neem oil spray on the actual leaves, but as far as like on the roots, because the next step would be to place these plants in some nutrient solution water, so that way they can dehydrate, de-stress, get some of that vigor back from just the travel. I mean, you can see right here, just cleaning up the roots. So this is what I'm going to be doing for a little bit. So just let me know in the comments if you have any questions. And I went ahead and just cleaned this particular Aglaonema Adela out as well. This one is for my friend Stephen of I Lift Plants. If you haven't already, please make sure you are subscribed to his YouTube channel, as well as following us on the Cultivation Corner Plant Podcast on YouTube. That is the plant podcast show I'm part of, and I'm super excited to be part of that with Janae Simone and Stephen of I Lift Plants. And you can see right here, I am cleaning my friend Sean's Anthurium, variegated Anthurium. And then this one right here is for my Kuya Craig Plantito right here. I'm spraying his stuff down. And then that Aglaonema that had some opportunities. We'll see if I can rehab it. But again, if you have any issues with your plant order, you can always reach out to GreenspacesID as quickly as possible. That way they can either find a replacement plant or find some way to credit you back with the plants. For me, I'm choosing to either get a replacement plant if these do not make it, or get credited for the next one, because I do intend on buying more plants from GreenspacesID. I trust the seller. That is a reputable nursery. I mean, they've been in the business for about 23 years. They have shipped all over the world. So if you are a plant foldy, for instance, in Canada, they are able to ship to Canada and lots of places all around the world. So I know I have a couple of international plant foldies. Welcome to the channel. Love the fact that you guys are there. But as far as my Canadian plant foldies, there are a lot of y'all. Shout out to Kathy of Canada. I know you are always out on the live premiere chats. Really appreciate your love and support. You are pretty much on every single live premiere chat. And if you are actually watching this video live during a live premiere chat, please say hello on the chat. I love meeting new plant foldies. And if you haven't already, you can also leave a super sticker or a super thanks, which is basically a monetary tip that you can provide by either pressing the $ button. Any amount is I'm grateful for. And during the live premiere chats, please take a look at the live chat goal that I set. And that's really just super sticker, super thanks. For those that have supported me on a monetary tip basis, thank you so much. Your tips to help this channel out through a monetary basis really helps me with my gas money, even just being able to import plants, being able to purchase these plants so I can feature them. And I really appreciate that. Don't feel obligated, but if you do feel inclined to support me that way, definitely send a super sticker, a super thanks, or take a look at the live chat goals that I have set forth. But anyways, going back to the plants right over here, you notice that now they're cleaned up. I am now putting my nutrient solution. So I let these plants sit a minimum of 24 to 72 hours, sometimes longer. But you can see even this variegated round Dieffenbachia for my friend, I'm putting nutrient water. So what I do with my nutrient water is I use a product called Super Thrive. It's a B vitamin that helps really recover the plant from stress. I also use We the Wild liquid fertilizer, just a little drop in the water. And I use a little bit of Fox Farm fertilizer mix, which is the boomerang. I put put like a tiny drop in a gallon of water. And basically that's just going to provide some nutrients to where the plant will be able to recover. So that's really what I like to do, is just put them in water, let the roots soak, let them acclimate to the space. And it's really important. I would not recommend putting plants straight into soil as soon as you receive them from overseas, because they're under a lot of stress. The roots have to actually rehydrate for them to really perform and do well. The good thing about it is I am actually planning on planting these in leca, which is a semihydro substrate that I'm using. Unfortunately, there's not any lechuza pond available on Amazon. I'm hoping that they get in stock soon, because that is my favorite substrate. And you can see over here Aglaonema frozen. This one has had some opportunities in terms of just more of the yellowing leaves, and then the roots probably weren't the best to begin with. So this one's going to need a little bit more love and care for sure, but I'm going to see if I can keep this particular Aglaonema frozen alive. Again, I'm just putting some nutrient solution. It's a very trace amount. You know, I always say less is more when it comes to fertilizers or nutrients, but I would say if you don't have access to some of the plant products, even just putting them in straight water is okay, but I would highly recommend using Super Thrive. And here is the other set of Aglaonema that I need to make sure that I spray a bunch of neem oil spray just to make sure that the plants are clean. What I also love about the neem oil spray is it does give the plant a little bit more of a shine. You know, I'm all about plant styling and plant foldies. Again, I know that I keep mentioning that I will be doing a houseplant tour. I promise you I will be doing that, just because I have been able to get my plants situated to the point where it's presentable for YouTube. So we're going to take a look at that. Again, as in terms of just cleaning the roots out, it is important to clean out that solution if you're going to spray it on the plant, because you don't really want your plant sitting in like rubbing alcohol and neem oil whenever you put it into the nutrient solution. A lot of the success when it comes to importing plants or getting plants from overseas is really the acclimation period, the care that you take for the plants. You know, I do a lot of big box store plant shopping videos, and I do think that getting plants from overseas is a big box store plant shopping alternative, because yes, you might be able to find some Aglaonemas, right? But the thing about it is these Aglaonemas are more uncommon versus the Aglaonema red Siam you would find, say, at Lowe's, Walmart, or Home Depot. And that's why I want to create more awareness, especially for GreenspacesID. I know that there's been a lot of plant influencers, plant YouTubers that have featured GreenspacesID. There might be some mixed reviews, but you know, if you're watching my videos, you can at least see my personal experiences. You know, I did a collab with GreenspacesID originally on my first video when they offered to send me some free plants and give them a unboxing review. But you know, moving forward, all of my personal reviews from that initial order that I got from GreenspacesID have just been my personal plant orders. I love the fact that I know that I want Aglaonema. I know that there are certain uncommon plants that I can find. They provide very cost-effective pricing. I will say, if you're looking to get a bigger discount from them, the more plants you order, the potential bigger discount you can get. And if you haven't already placed an order for GreenspacesID, hopefully this video gives you some confidence to do some plant shopping. You know, the new year, we want to try to look at our finances, especially the first part of January, where maybe we might have overspent a lot of money on our Christmas shopping. But If you are looking to buy plants from GreenspacesID, you can use my promotion code GrowFolds20. Yes, GrowFolds20 for 20% off your entire purchase. If you ever send a direct message to GreenspacesID, please tell them that Richie of GrowFold sent you there. I really want to get a lot of our plant foldies excited about getting plants from GreenspacesID. And can you leave a comment for this gorgeous Aglaonema Adelia? Look at how gorgeous the speckling of the leaves are, and also that red veining. Such a stunning plant, and I love the pink stems on it. You know, I just wish that more big box stores, local nurseries would carry Aglaonema, but for now, I do have this resource called GreenspacesID that I can buy my plants, and when you place an order, you know, as far as frequently asked questions, it takes about 2.5 to 3 weeks for you to receive the plant, and a lot of it has to do with the phytosanitary certificate being issued by the seller. And then you can see over here, I am still taking some time to spray the plants, make sure that they're clean, and then it's the same process. So let's just watch this and let me know in the comment section again if you have any questions or comments about the plants today. I would really like to get some insights from y'all. Here again is the process of this Aglaonema Comcom. This is a beautiful one. This one is for my friend Janae Simone. Look at how amazing the roots are. And again, plant foldies, if you have watched several plant videos of GreenspacesID reviews, you can at least see that I've taken a little bit more time to show you the ordering process, the acclimation process, the cleaning process, and then you'll also see the potting up process. Again, I took a little bit more time to make this video just because number one, the holidays were super busy, and then number two, I wanted to make sure that I edited this video a little bit more intentional. That way it is long playing. So if you like that long format content, you're really going to see the details of my process. I did talk about doing more different forms of plant content for the new year 2025. And then, I mean, you can even see right here, this is an Aglaonema pictum bicolor, and actually you can see that there are little corms that will pop out for this one right here. Really excited about this particular plant because I know I have the Aglaonema pictum tricolor, but the bicolor also looks good. I like that camouflage look, and I got a really good price for a lot of these plants. I would even say doing a group import with these plants has really saved me a lot of money on just being able to get these plants. So again, for those that are in the local Dallas-Fort Worth area, I have my select people that I do, orders for. I would love to continue to grow that with the plant community. And if you are, say, in a country like Canada, where there might be some plant foldies that you can connect with, I would say do an order, buy plants from GreenspacesID. It is one of the best international sellers. They have some really good plant pricing. And if you are planning on going to like some plant conventions, like say PlantCon 2025, I will be going to Orlando on February 22nd. So hopefully I can meet some of our plant foldies there. Would love to meet you. I know that that would be a fun time. So now I'm going to show you the process of getting these plants potted up in a semihydro substrate called leca. It's a little bit more cost effective as compared to the lechuza pond. Mind you, I received these plants on December 22nd. I did the whole first part of the video where I put the nutrient solution. When I potted these up, this was actually on Saturday, January 4th, 2025. So the plants actually stayed a lot longer into the nutrient water solution. So they stayed for about 2 weeks. That's when you know that the plants have actually acclimated and have been able to really settle in and get those nutrients. I will say there are going to be a little bit more casualties in terms of some of the roots, because again, plant foldies, like I mentioned at the very beginning of the video, these plants, they may look pretty good when you first get them, but then it is normal for the plant to slightly decline in health. I wouldn't say it's just going to die out completely, but in terms of the plant, you definitely will either see a little bit more casualties on the leaves because the plant is going through that initial shock that it took when it traveled all the way to whatever destination it did when it left Indonesia. I am still thankful that I've been able to get these plants. I love using leca. It was something that was introduced to me because I don't really water my plants as often. And even though Aglaonema are easy care plants, it is a lot easier when you can put them in a self-watering planter and just fill up the water reservoir. You don't have to actually water them or actually fill up the reservoir for a good 2 to 3 weeks, and something I love. And if you notice, I actually planted this Aglaonema masahati further down into the pot. If you notice, I also pulled the self-watering wick string. You want to put that further into the middle of the pot because you need that to soak up the water into it. Now this one right here is an Aglaonema odella. This is going to be for my friend Steven of I Live Plants. You can see that it's still 2 weeks later after sitting in that nutrient water, it's still looking pretty good. The first part is I'll put a little layer of that leca and then pull up the string further up to the pot, so that way it's in the middle of the pot and it will pull it up, and I'll actually sit the actual plant kind of on top of the self-watering wick, and then I'll fill up the plant with that leca. You want to make sure that you're at least with Aglaonema, if you want the Aglaonema to not look as leggy, when you plant them further into the pot, they'll be able to actually push out new growth. So I really love the look of that. Now as far as the leca, I bought these at IKEA. So if you're ever going to go shopping, shop at IKEA. There's a lot of nice planters, and you can get leca for $9.99, at least in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That's where I get my leca. It's a pretty stable semihydro substrate. I love it. And if you notice, I'm tapping it, patting it, and making sure that the leca is settled, and also for any of the dust or whatever, it will push some of that out. But I'm going to just do this process. So just feel free to relax and listen to maybe some of that ASMR. So I'll stop talking for now and just let you listen and watch this process as I pot up my plants from GreenspacesID. Hopefully, plant foldies, you're enjoying this process of just me showing you when I've actually unboxed the plants from overseas all the way to the potting up process. So you'll see that all of these plants have been in my care, or at least acclimating in their nutrient solution for 2 weeks before I put them in a substrate. So it really depends on what you would want to do with the plants. I would say you have to gauge the roots. If you feel like the roots are pretty stable, you can go ahead and put them in a substrate. I feel a little bit more confident putting them in a semihydro substrate like lechuza pond or leca because they've already been bare root. Now, as far as like planting these plants in, say, like a soil substrate, my only advice would be to give them a more chunky soil mix and to definitely water them with some Super Thrive, which I'm going to go show you as well. But I'm going to continue to just pot up these plants. Again, plant foldies, if you have any questions, leave in the comments, but I'm showing you how great these roots are. Even after 2 weeks being in the nutrient solution, it didn't get mushy. If anything, these plants are now hydrated and ready to go. I will be putting them under grower lights to really give them the most optimal condition. And again, whenever you're putting plants in self-watering planters, you want to pull up that wick further into the middle of the pot. Notice how that Aglaonema adella's roots are kind of sitting right on the wick. So that way it'll pull up water from the self-watering planter. Really enjoyed this process, super relaxing. Again, if you haven't made it into the comments section, please leave some comments. Please hit the like button or the thumbs up button because it definitely helps my channel out. So we'll keep potting up some plants and let me know what you think. Now that we've got the plants potted up in my leca self-watering planters, and by the way, if you're interested on where I got these planters, I bought them on Amazon, a really good deal. What I'm going to do now, and honestly, I wouldn't recommend doing this in your sink long term, is to actually rinse out the leca just to get any, actual debris out of it, the dust, just really rinsing it out and cleaning it. It's just a process that I like to do. It's not necessarily important for a lot of people, but I like to keep my substrates clean. So I let it just rinse out for about a minute, and then I will actually water it with some nutrient solution. And again, the nutrient solution I will be using is basically a gallon of water that I put just a small amount of Super Thrive solution. I also use We the Wild liquid fertilizer, which is this right over here, the Grow fertilizer, because it's got a lot of organic material in it that's going to help give the roots a little bit more absorption of the nutrients, as well as using a tiny amount of Fox Farms boomerang fertilizer. I'll mix that, and you can see now that I've rinsed it, I'm going to go ahead and water the leca with the nutrient solution. And then finally, I will fill up the water reservoir in the self-watering planter with about half of the nutrient solution, and then another half of just regular water, so it's really diluted. You don't really want to put too much nutrient solution in your semihydro, because number one, it could burn the roots, and number two, it could just really shock the plant. As a rule of thumb, when it comes to fertilizers in general, less is more. I know it's tempting to try to over fertilize or feed your plants, but if you're able to just give them trace amounts, more frequent waterings with that, it's going to work out for you long term. But yes, plant foldies, let's just enjoy the process again. So I'll kind of give you guys less commentary during this process.
Quick touch up on that paint.
All right, plant foldies, let me know what you think about this type of content. Again, I'm repeating the process again with just rinsing out the leca to make sure all of the dust and debris is gone. This one is an Aglaonema cum. This one is for my good friend, Janae Simone. Please check out her YouTube channel. She also loves Aglaonema. And then you can see this Aglaonema Gold Start, beautiful plant. And I'm just excited because in my opinion, these plants look super healthy, and I have no qualms about these plants becoming really nice specimens in my care because GreenspacesID was able to give me some great plants to begin with. All right, plant foldies, that's basically it. You can see now all of the plants have been potted up in semihydro substrates called leca. Look at how gorgeous all of my plants are from GreenspacesID. Hopefully, seeing this process is going to get you inspired. It's going to get you to want to order from greenspaces.id. That is the website. Again, definitely follow them on Instagram as well. Send them a direct message. Let them know that Richie of Growfold sent you there. Send me a direct message. I can put you on a group chat with them. So if you're ready to do your order for some gorgeous plants, not just Aglaonema, but just so many different types of philodendrons, syngoniums, different types of aeroids, lots of anthuriums, Hoyas. They have it all. And I am excited to also do an unboxing video from, Succulents Asia. They are doing a collab with me and I will show you that process. But you can see right here, this gorgeous variegated Dieffenbachia round form, beautiful plant, and obviously all the Aglaonemas. What I did too is I actually sprayed the plants whenever I was rinsing the leca with We the Wild Protect Neem Oil Spray. It is my favorite leaf shine neem oil spray. So I have my own neem oil spray, but to really make the leaves look shiny, I use microfiber gloves after spraying them with We the Wild Neem Oil Protect Spray. You can order from wethewild.com. It is one of my favorite sprays to put on my plants because it's not invasive. It has a really good smell about it and it makes your leaves look so shiny. And that's part of growing plants, right? Is actually curating them, making them look pretty. I would say either manicuring them, that's basically either doing that or even putting that extra makeup on your plants just to make them look gorgeous. Nothing beats a healthy looking plant when you are able to get them to look like this. I mean, would you believe that this process was really not that invasive. It didn't take that long, and you can see how gorgeous the leaves are. What I love about the We the Wild Protect neem oil spray is the fact that it makes the leaves shiny, but it also gives a pheromone to keep pests away because the plants have that extra level of protection. It protects from like spider mites, mealy bugs, and even thrifts. And I would say as far as plant pests, thrifts are the worst. But if you go through the process again, even with these plants that went through a lot of stress through the shipping, you can even see the results of it. And hopefully this unboxing video, this how to import plants successfully video, this plant shopping video has really inspired you. Again, use the promo code GrowFolds20 for 20% off of your purchase on GreenspacesID. That's the website. Definitely check it out. Leave in the comments if you have any questions because I want to be a resource for you. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. It definitely pushes this video out to more plant lovers like yourself. I'd love to see our plant community grow. And as always, please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel with all the notification bell on. Check that out. And if you feel inclined to leave a super sticker or super thanks, I'd love that as well. I'll see you on the next one.